Hey, this is Heather Christie. Welcome to LinkedIn Live, Evolve to Win show. Today, we're going to have Mark Hunter as our guest, and he is known as the Sales Hunter. He's recognized as one of the top 50 most influential sales and marketing leaders in the world. So if you have a sales professional or a sales leader in your network, please share this broadcast now so they can get in on it and hear from the author of High Profit Prospecting and High Profit Selling. And this coming March, I think it's March 31st, his next book will be released. It's called A Mind for Sales. And I've invited Mark to be on the podcast so that he can share a little bit with you from his new book. So Mark has also co-founded Outbound, which in just 4 years has become the largest sales conference focused 100% on outbound selling. So last year's event drew people from 17 different countries. The focus of Mark's work is really to help influence and impact others and help them see and achieve what they never thought was possible. He's been quoted in multiple publications, Forbes, Entrepreneur, Bloomberg's Business Week, and his clients are everywhere from Fortune 100 to small startups. Mark travels more than 200 days per year, and he's spoken on 5 continents in 28 countries. So I'm going to share information for how you can connect with Mark. But for right now, let me add Mark to the stream and welcome Mark Hunter.
Thank you for having me on today. I'm looking forward. This is the first time I've ever done this. This is great.
It's, you are actually the first outside guest that I've had on LinkedIn Live, which is really fun. And we're still learning some of the new technology here. But you see, so here's what's interesting. You can see that Mark is sitting right now in his car. Mark, would you tell people exactly where you are and why you're sitting in your car?
Well, I'm sitting in a parking lot of a sleazy strip center. We won't go down the, no, we won't bother to share. It does have a domino, so it's not totally sleazy. But no, we couldn't get a signal, so I jumped in the car, got 4 bars, and hey, I'm live with you today from Richardson, Texas.
All right. Well, thank you for being so resourceful and making this work for us. I've been really excited to have you on the Evolve to Win show. And look, with your background in sales, I know we have so much to learn. So I'd like to start off with a concept that I heard you talking about that's in your new book, I think. And of course, we haven't gotten our hands on it yet. But talking about the mindset that people need to have for sales. So you said something in a video that I watched that was something like, that it's not about preparing today. It's what did you do last week? And how did you prepare on Friday to get yourself ready for the weekend, to get yourself ready for Monday? And since it's Monday right now, would you share with us the kind of strategies that you think the most successful salespeople are using in terms of their preparation and mindset?
Sure. Hey, what it really comes down to is too many people go into the week reacting to the week. I want to go into the week proactively controlling the week. And if you think about what do great salespeople do, they control the week. Now, it's not that they control the customer. No, we could run down that path, but no, I don't want to go down that path. What I want to talk about is we prepare, because what it is, and in fact, I wrote about this in a blog this morning. I want to make a list, and I did. I made a list this morning of people who I want to influence and impact this week. Then right adjacent to that, I write down, how am I going to impact and influence them? And that becomes my goal for the week. That's just one of the ways that I proactively control. What does that do? It changes your mindset dramatically in terms of now you're looking for ways to influence versus just waiting for things to happen to you.
All right, good. So you're getting really strategic first on the people who you want to impact and influence. And do you go deeper when you make that list and to say how you want to influence them specifically? Imagine it's different for different people.
No, I don't necessarily go specific because I'm not sure how the week's going to unfold, but I do want to say that, hey, I want to share this. I want to share that. Here's an idea. There's a couple people I wrote down on my list that I want to share a book with this week. Oh, guess what? It's not my book. It's another book I read last week that I want to make sure that I get a book into their hands. You see, if you think about it, what do you talk about? You talk about leadership, and that's about how do you impact people? So that means how do you take people you come in contact with and move them to the next level? That's really, if you think about it, the essence of sales.
Mm. So I love it. You're thinking about different ways of adding value, not necessarily even with your content. You're looking at how you can add value in different ways by getting the right kind of information into people's hands that will benefit and help them. Right?
You
Building
that
relationship.
that is spot on. Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
And
Awesome.
you know what's funny is, you and I are both known as thought leaders, and people always think that all we're going to do is talk about ourselves. No, I love talking about other people. What does that do? That really kind of moves you again into a different space with people who you're sharing with. That's why I love connecting people with other people. And you think about it again, what does a leader do? It helps connect people to allow them. Well, let me share with you, my definition of sales is the same as my definition of leadership. It's
Mm.
helping others see and achieve what they did not think was possible. Hmm. Chew on that one for a while.
I like it. I like it. Um, so tell me a little bit about your day-to-day routine. I mean, you're on the road all the time. You do like what, 50 to 70 keynotes in a year, and you're in whatever state or country. How do you keep up a routine, and what does it look like in a day?
Well, you know what? Most of all, I take on a routine of being grateful, being thankful. It is very easy to become overwhelmed. And like this morning, this morning I actually woke up at a quarter to four. The alarm was set for four. I woke up early. I got up, and I got a lot of things on my plate today. And it's easy to get overwhelmed, but I took a step back and I go, wait a minute, I'm thankful for these opportunities. I'm thankful to be able to have this opportunity to be able to share with you and all of our listeners today. I'm thankful to be able to check out new technology. I'm thankful. And again, that's probably the single biggest thing that I do. But then what I do is I take a step back and I organize myself. And I really organize myself around what is the biggest thing. Brian Tracy has a line, and I love, eat the frog first thing in the morning. If there's one ugly thing, it's probably eating the frog. So do that first thing. And
Mhm.
that's exactly what I did this morning. This morning, before 6:30 in the morning, I had knocked out two of the big ugly things I had to get done. And wow, it sure makes your day feel a lot better.
I love it, and I think getting rid of those big things in the morning is just brilliant because it gives you a whole new sense of energy. All right, your new book that's coming out. Tell us a little bit about, like, before you go into some of the strategies and the content and the great stuff you have for us, what prompted you to write yet another book?
Well, because I was bored. I just did not have anything to do. No,
I was going to
really.
say, so much time
Yeah,
on your hands.
I just got too much time. What prompted me was the fact that I find too many people struggling with sales. And I find too many people who claim they're not in sales, but are in sales. And what I wanted to write was a book that really shared my story about how I got into sales. And I'll share that with you in just a
Mhm.
bit because it's kind of a funny story. But
Okay.
really, what the book is about is to help give you the right mindset. Because over the years, I have come to not just view sales as a job or view it as a profession, but I view it as a lifestyle. To me, it's a kick in the pants. Why? Because I'm helping people. And when you get a chance to help people, that's just a kick. Okay, can I tell my story as to how I got into sales?
Please do.
This is how I start off the book because I did not, I don't think there were too many people who, as a kid, dreamed of being a salesperson. We all dream of being well, at least for boys, it's a fireman, it's a policeman, it's something of that nature. Nobody dreams of being a salesperson. I went to college to get a degree in marketing, and because that's really what I want to do. I wanted to write ads. I wanted to do TV commercial, that sort of stuff. And I was all set for that until I ran into the Seattle Police Department. Literally ran into the, well, no, they ran into me. I got 4 tickets in the course of about 6 weeks. Now, this was just before I graduated. Now, okay, hey, when you're in college, you're not responsible for your actions. Okay, I was responsible. I paid my tickets and I forgot about it. The problem was my insurance company did not. And about 3 months later, I get this notice in the mail that they're not discontinuing my insurance, but they're inviting me into their high risk pool. AKA you're going to pay a fortune for car insurance. Well, being resourceful, I said, I got to get a job that supplies me with a car. And guess what? That was a sales job. And that's how I wound up in sales.
Wow. So the strategic thinking that was going on back in that day was really pretty powerful.
Hey, but you know what? The strategic thing really got me a long ways, because you know what? My first 2 sales jobs, I got fired from.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, you have to share the story. You have to.
I had no clue what I was doing. That let's cut to the chase. I had no clue what I was doing, but it supplied me with a car. And really what I had failed to realize is that sales is about the customer. It's not about me. You see, I went into sales thinking it's all about the commissions.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was really making it all. I had a bad case of commission breath. And I wasn't putting the customer first. And it took me getting fired from 2 jobs before I really began to realize that, hey, you know what? You really got to listen to the customer, put their goals, put their needs first, and then things happen. That's when the light bulb really began to go off. That's when I began to really appreciate sales.
Got it. And did you have that shift because of some fabulous mentor who really helped you see the light? Or was that something that you just figured out after being fired a couple of times and trying new things?
It was the fear of being fired, of thinking I was going to get fired a 3rd time. Let's just put it that way, okay?
Yeah.
It was self-thinking.
Yeah, got it. Well, since you shared your first sales story, I must share mine because you don't even know this about me, I don't think.
Oh, I want to hear.
My very first sales job was at the ripe age of 16 years old, and I sold World Book encyclopedias on the phone.
Wow.
So I was a telemarketer for World Book encyclopedias. Now, I don't even know if they're still in print these days, but that was our Google. That was our access to information back in the day. And one day they ran a contest. And in this contest, the person who sold the most sets of World Book encyclopedias in one day received, I want to say it was a $100 gift card, which back when I was 16 was a really, really big deal. So I found an angle within our scripting that had to do with removing an objection. And I didn't know this at the time, of course, but it sounded really good to me. I thought, well, if I was going to try a set of World Book encyclopedias, my biggest fear would be, well, what if I don't love them? How, would I be able to return them? So I found this little part of the script that says you have X number of days to try out this set. And if for any reason you're not fully satisfied, you return them. We take care of the shipping. Absolutely no questions asked and no cost to you. So I used that with every single call that I had, and I sold like far and above. And I was like a week into the job. The manager came up to me. I thought I was in trouble. They're like, I have to know what you did. And I'm like, oh my God, did I do something wrong? Well, it turns out they didn't really want me leading with that, but they also thought, well, if that's what it did to make all of those sales, we're going to really look at reworking this script. So it was a very short-lived position for me because I think I had a Beastie Boys concert I needed to get to, and that conflicted with my work schedule at the time. But it was a really, really interesting learning for me.
Hey, what a great see, you know what you did there? You figured out what is the need that the customer has, and you found a way to address it very early on.
Yeah.
Hashtag Heather, super salesperson. There we go.
Thank you. That was my first entree into the world of sales and how much fun it actually is. So, Mark, if I were to ask you this question, I'm so interested in hearing your response. What do you think is the biggest mistake that salespeople make? The biggest mistake they make?
Yeah, I think the biggest mistake is failing to follow up with people. Now, here's what it comes down to. Oh, sales, I don't want to interrupt somebody. I don't want to bug somebody. Well, let me share with you. So I'll share with you a story. In fact, it didn't make it in the book, but my daughter lives in a neighborhood, and there were some people who moved in right down the street from her, and she had not met them yet. One day she steps outside her house and she notices that these people's house is on fire. Now, she didn't know them. You see, so well, I don't know them. So maybe I'll connect with them on Facebook. Maybe I'll connect with them on Twitter or Snapchat. No, what did she do? She ran down to their house. She's a nurse. She ran down to their house to make sure that they were out. She called 911 immediately. And was she interrupting them? Well, yeah, she wanted to interrupt them. You see, here's the whole story. If you have the ability to help somebody, it is your responsibility to get in touch with them. If you don't, you are doing them a disservice. You see, I look at, I'm going to bug people all the time, but you know what? I know I can help them, and therefore it's my responsibility. So don't feel shy if you're interrupting somebody, because hey, let's just, they probably didn't wake up in the morning and say, oh man, I hope Heather calls me, or I hope Mark calls me. No, that's not at all. That's not at all. But hey, I want to get in touch with them. And I may have to do that 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 times. But if I can help them, I'm going to do it.
So when you think about follow-up, I totally agree with you that there are too many people out there who have what is really, really considered to be a hot lead, right? A hot lead. You talk in one of your books, and I think you're even going to do it in this upcoming book, about the leads that are outbound leads versus inbound, right? Can you just talk a little bit about that distinction? Because I feel like that lead diminishes in value, right? Talk about this concept a bit.
Oh yeah, inbound leads have depreciating value. The way I look at them, if I have an inbound lead, it's like you have an itch, and I need to help scratch it right away. If I don't scratch it for 3 days and then I scratch it, I'm stalking you. Outbound leads, on the other hand, you're not aware of me. See, so they have appreciating value. What does that mean? I'm going to have to take the time to develop a relationship with you, develop confidence with you, develop probably a need with you. See, so I have to have two completely different strategies. And this is where too many salespeople fall apart. This is where too many people fall apart, because they put inbound and outbound in the same process, so to speak. No, inbound, I can't follow up with them fast enough. Outbound, it's going to take time.
How fast is your rule of thumb for following up on a lead that comes to you, an inbound lead?
Well, if I can call you back within a minute or two, I'll share with you an example. I'm sitting in an airport. Gee, that's an unusual statement. Email comes into me, and it was really somebody who had posted on my website that they were looking for a keynote speaker for a sales kickoff meeting. And all those go to my assistant, but they also come to me. I'm sitting in an airport. I see this, and I immediately, I got to find out the phone number. So I immediately find out the phone number, and I call the person back. And it's amazing, but within about 2 minutes, I'm speaking to the VP of sales of this company. And he goes, wow, that's fast. My assistant just reached out to you on your website. And I kind of joked with him. I said, well, I did write the book, High Profit Prospecting, so I do have to eat my own dog food. But it was very interesting. In the course of about 5 minutes, I closed the deal. The only thing left was he needed to just get approval from the CEO of the company. Boom. See, if I had waited a day or two, or even a few hours, that person may have checked out some other people, may have said, let's look at 2 or 3 speakers. No, boom, I responded. I got the deal. You can't respond fast enough.
So you should never be concerned that responding too quickly makes you look too available or not busy enough, or just go for it as fast as you can because there's a need.
Go for it. I think that was yesterday's thinking. Oh, I don't want to follow too quickly because it makes it seem like I'm stalking. Hey, look, China's already listening in on everything we're saying anyway, so you might as well just go for it, okay?
That's right. That's right. Hey, by the way, if you're listening to us live and you have any questions for Mark around your sales process, around prospecting, around closing sales, anything at all, here's your opportunity. And by the way, even if you're listening to this after the fact, it's okay to still type in those questions, because Mark and I will both watch that feed, right, Mark? And we'll get back to you as we can. So but please do connect live. Yeah.
We sure want to keep this dialogue going as long as possible, because neither of us have anything else to do today.
That's exactly right. Other than a keynote that you're about to run off to, of course. So Mark, tell me a little bit more about follow-up. So when you think about your follow-up process, how much is too much? You know, like, is there something that is built into the process that helps you to gauge the temperature of whether someone's actually really interested or just completely blowing you off? How do you do that?
The rule of following up is by bringing new value each time. If all you're doing is, hey, you didn't respond to my voicemail. Hey, you didn't respond to my email. Or, gee, I know you're probably too busy, so that is dumb. What I want to do is I want to bring new value, bring a new piece of information, bring a new question, bring something new. And when I do that, I can follow up with you forever and ever and ever. And it's going to be quite all right. It's okay, because I'm creating value. And this is what's interesting, especially if you're listening to this, if you're watching this, and you're in a service. Think about this. Your customers are using you as the gauge, as the benchmark for your service. So guess what? Your sales process, your ability to bring them new information, to help them. See, I want to be seen as my customers' R&D department, research and development department. When I do that in the prospecting phase, it's amazing how customers come to me, they want to buy from me, and guess what? It creates the next sale and the next sale and the next sale.
Awesome. So be really starting to think less about you and how you are getting in front of the person, and think more about, how am I providing so much value that this person just really wants to talk to me because they're showing that they care, right?
That is spot on. And you're showing them care by not showing them your presentation. Oh, wow, we've been in business 18 years. We won this. Who cares?
Mm-hmm.
If a prospect wants to see that, they'll Google that. What you want to do is you want to understand them and get them to understand that you know them.
Got it. Got it. All right. So you're showing that you know who they are. You're showing that you've done a little bit of your homework, and you're adding value. So that's really clear. Now, I'm going to switch gears just a little bit here, because I'm really interested to find out, how is it that you have over 300,000? Do I have that number right? I mess up numbers sometimes, but you have over 300,000 people following you on LinkedIn. Is that right?
I came from a big family.
It'd have to be really, really big.
No, I you know what? I've got over 330,000 followers. LinkedIn a few years ago was testing a concept, and there were a few of us that they allowed kind of in the door, kind of like you're in the door with LinkedIn Live. I got in the door with that. That gave, when they did that, that gave me about 100,000. And then I just am really deliberate. Every morning I put out about a 10-second video out on LinkedIn. I share a lot on LinkedIn, and to me, it's a great tool. I love LinkedIn.
So
I love LinkedIn so much. I'd love LinkedIn Live if LinkedIn is listening right now.
LinkedIn, if you are listening, I would love for Mark Hunter to be LinkedIn Live too. And honestly, I don't know what the criteria are. I don't know how I got so lucky to be part of this beta test. But I do know that there's an application that you can fill out on LinkedIn. You can go to just type Google getting started with LinkedIn, and you can find that whole process. But yes, would love to have Mark Hunter on LinkedIn Live if that's at all possible. And in the meantime, we'll just make sure that we're promoting this. And by the way, if you too would like to have Mark Hunter on LinkedIn Live, please comment in the comments here. And maybe that'll help generate some interest as well from LinkedIn.
I really like you, Heather. I really like you.
Thank you. Appreciate that. All right. So let's talk about your new book for just a moment here. It's coming out March 31st. And this is book number what for you? I know that you're a best-selling author of it too, but how many do you have altogether?
This is book number 3, and I've co-authored 3.
Okay.
So yeah, I've kind of been writing, and I got a couple more in the works, but I won't share insights on those, because right now we got to make a mind for sales.
Okay, mind for sales.
That's the horse I got to ride right now.
All right, good. And can we pre-order a mind for sales?
Yes.
And if so, where do we go? What do we do? How do we do it?
Yes, jump out to Amazon or Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, your local bookstore. wherever it is. But it comes out March 31st. Our website will go live here in about a week. We got some special little goodies. In fact, I'll be in the studio next Monday all day doing videos just for you people who pre-order and get the book. So those will be available. But yeah.
Oh, awesome. So that's great to know. And when you go in and pre-order, if you have a sales team as well, let's talk about, Mark, what is the problem that you're solving in A Mind for Sales? So if there's a sales leader who's listening to this right now and they've got a sales team, why would they want to get this book for their sales team?
The number one reason is salespeople are so quick to blame everybody else. They blame marketing, they blame product development, they blame customers, but they never look at themselves. What is this book about? This book is about getting your own head screwed on straight, getting your own mindset right. The single biggest obstacle that any salesperson has to overcome is themselves. That's it.
All right. Sorry, I just pulled on my LinkedIn Live. I was checking to see if there are any comments, and I turned ourselves on. So yeah, well, one of the biggest opportunities, I totally agree with you, for salespeople in general is that mindset of taking personal responsibility, right? And so let's just say that your marketing department has not provided you with the leads that you need. So then what? Like, here's the situation I'm faced with. Now, what do I do? What can I do instead of just staying stagnant?
Well, what you just said is so spot on. Don't blame marketing. Blame yourself if you don't have leads. Hey, who's responsible for closing deals? Marketing or you? You. If you're responsible for closing deals, then you should be the one responsible for your leads. How do you get leads? 2 simple exercises to do. 1, develop a list, create a list of what describes your perfect customer. Okay? Those are the only people you want to be prospecting. Because here's an argument I love to say: you can't take a Walmart shopper and make them a Nordstrom customer. Too many people have leads that they're just names. Mm-hmm. You want to only be going after people who line up with your perfect profile. 2.
Wait, before you go to 2, yeah. Can I ask you a question about number 1?
Yeah.
What sort of detailed information do you include in that description of the ideal customer? Can you give us some bullet points?
Sure. I could care less about height, weight, and all that sort of stuff. What I want to do is, what are the outcomes? What are the outcomes that customer has achieved? That's what I really want to zero in on. I want to zero in on other people or other businesses that have that same type of need for that same type of outcome. See, so if I'm in a business situation, it may be businesses across 5 or 6 different industries. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to break it down even further. I'm going to say, okay, now I'm going to develop a process to be going after prospects in this industry, this industry, this industry, all with the same outcome, but my messaging is going to be a little bit different. Now, if I'm in a B2C, business to consumer model, business to customer model, it may be that, okay, I'm going after people who are married. I'm going after single people. I may be going, but they all have the same outcome. Okay, fine. Now I'm going to develop different questioning and different front door tactics and strategies to be able to reach those groups. I very much want to segment my prospecting model as much as possible, because it allows me to be far more targeted. Because my goal is not to have 10,000 leads. My goal is to really have fewer prospects that I can spend more time with. That's how I maximize value for them. Fewer prospects I can spend.
So I really, really like this. And this is like an area where I want to pause and say to you, if you're in sales, think about what Mark just said right now. If you look at your prospect list right now, what could you do to make that list fewer people that you can get more targeted and more focused? And I get that there are some of you who have a list that's handed to you and you have to work the whole thing, but can you chunk it down even and start with a smaller list and go deeper, right? I mean, this whole idea of, I know people get stopped up all the time, and this is why I stopped you here, is they say, oh, I don't want to leave anybody out. I don't want to get too narrow in who I'm prospecting because I serve everyone, which is just such a bad way of thinking, right? Because if you don't get really specific, I've heard it said, get definite with the infinite, right? the more specific you are, the more you can speak the language of the person that matters, right?
Yeah, because if you're too broad, all you're doing is talking to people who have a heartbeat. You know what's interesting is I have a dog that has a heartbeat. Let me tell you something. My dog is not buying anything from me. See, you've got to throw 80% of your leads out. And I know that scares, oh man, people are scared. But hey, the most valuable asset you have is not your list. Your most valuable asset is your time. Use it wisely.
Okay, take us to number 2. So I cut you off at number 1. Number 2.
And oh yes, yeah. I'm sorry, I gotta back up the truck here. Number 2 is go to your existing customers. It is amazing how much business we leave on the table because we're not asking them enough for referrals and leads and connections to other people. And when I say go back to your current customers, go back to those customers that turned you down. Yes, even those customers who turned you down a year ago, you know what? They know you. Even those customers that left you, oh, well, they left me because we delivered bad service. Hold it. How do you know that? Until you pick up the phone and call them, until you reach out to them. It is amazing the amount of business we all have in our CRM system, in our computer, if we just get over the hurdle of saying, oh, I can't call them. They don't like us. How do you know that? Pick up the phone, make the call.
Awesome. Such great advice, Mark. By the way, I'll leave this in the comments, but if you want to connect with Mark, you can go to www.thesaleshunter.com. Mark, is there anything else that you want to leave us with? Any other last minute tips or strategies that you think make a difference for either sales leaders or sales professionals out there?
Sure. The greatest thrill is your ability to influence and impact people. And what I want you to do is I want you to, at the end of the day, think of all the people that you've impacted. Think of what you've learned. Grab hold of that one concept, that one idea that you learned, and then ask yourself, who can I share that with tomorrow? How can that help me be a better person tomorrow? And if you do that, it's amazing where you'll be 3 months from now, 6 months from now, a year from now.
Awesome. Awesome. So be generous, be sharing, make an impact. That's the way that you influence. And Mark, you gave such great strategies today. Everything from making that list every day of who am I going to impact and who am I going to influence, starting the day off with gratitude. No matter what you have going on in your day, when you start it from the position of gratitude, it gives you an energy that will keep you going throughout the day. You talked about sales being a lifestyle because you're helping people, and there is no greater gift than being able to help people. Make sure you create that list of what describes a perfect customer to you, and that you can even segment that list, because the fewer prospects you have, the deeper you can go and the more meaningful relationship that you can have. Mark, this has been incredible. I really appreciate you going the extra mile, literally, to get into your car and get a signal on your phone since your Wi-Fi at the hotel wasn't working. Appreciate you so much. Thank you for being on our first official guest on LinkedIn Live for the Evolve to Win show. And again, Mark has talked about how you can add value. If this information can reach someone in your network who is a sales professional and they need to hear it, please just click the share button and feel free to leave Mark a comment and let him know what you thought. Appreciate you, Mark. Thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thank you for having me on as guest number 1, LinkedIn Live. I love it.
It's awesome. All right. Well, you have a great rest of your time in Texas there, and go get them at that keynote this afternoon.
Thank you. Great selling.
Take care.